furnishings. From casual to formal, traditional to transitional, or contemporary, no matter what your decorating style, McKinstry's has an Aereo rug to match. Back to the Daily Dodge TV studio and Terry Bell.
Thank you very much, Jeff Hall. We are very pleased to be joined by Fox Lake Fire Chief Steve Hopp for the program today. And we especially want to remind you about the big car show fundraiser coming up at Fireman's Park tomorrow. You can start showing up around 11 or so. Look at all the cars, and then there'll be judging and then announcements at 4 o'clock. I imagine the fun continues well beyond 4 o'clock.
Yeah, absolutely, with the band resuming after the trophy presentation, and they'll play to the people, so it'll be a good time.
That's excellent. And that is tomorrow starting at 11 in the morning at Fireman's Park in Fox Lake. So I believe this is the first time you've ever joined us on Community Comment. Why don't you give us this opportunity to talk a little bit about your department, especially the history of it?
Yeah, certainly. So pretty proud of our department here in Dodge County. It is actually one of the oldest started departments in the county. I think only Watertown beats us out for in Dodge County, but we were established in 1859. It started with a couple of leather buckets and some businesses that just had those leather buckets to put out the fires and sand and all the things back then. But it quickly evolved with the growth of the city, starting from then on, and we got some of our first equipment, kind of more of the pumps and everything came in the late about 1880s. They started getting some of that bigger equipment to actually move water in other ways besides buckets and carrying, so the old bucket brigade. But kept on growing, some good city growth and everything through the years. You're getting into the 1900s where they bought their first powered engine and so we have like a replica of it, 1936 Dodge fire engine. So that was pretty cool that we have at our disposal as well, and we like to take that around and kind of show, but just some of that history of our department. Kind of growing throughout the years. We have our EMS department too that was started, I believe, in the late 70s, early 80s, when EMS was starting to kind of come around more and more as a city service. And so currently we have 2 EMS rigs that we run with our EMS department, and we have a couple of fire engines, some water tenders to haul for a lot of our non-hydrant fires. And we have, of course, the brush rigs and everything, and that's coincidentally the skid unit on our new brush truck that we purchased, and the Kubota with the brush skid unit on there was all purchased with funds from the car show. So it's pretty cool to see that, and that is heavily used in the spring of the year, of course, with grass fires and everything. So it was pretty neat. So where we look at where we look at our department this time around with volunteer members and everything. So we have about 25 fire department members. We have probably some of those fire department members are also on EMS, like myself. We'll run ambulance calls and be a part of the fire department for putting out fires. But we have about 10 or so that are on the EMS side of things. So running 2 rigs when we have the need for multiple calls. I mean, there's some days, even being a population of around 1,600 people in the city, plus our townships, we'll have 5 EMS calls once in a while throughout the year. So I mean, it's pretty busy for a small community. What's unique about Fox Lake too is we have all the water. We cover all of Fox Lake, cover all of Lake Emily, and basically the northern part of Beaver Dam Lake. So we actually cover the most water for rescues, for anything needed in Dodge County as well. So we do see our fair amount of, having to get our boat out and rescue a stranded boat or you're somebody that has entered the water, we've had to have effect rescues for that. And we also have the ability to surface rescue for ice rescue and water. We don't dive. We have to call our partners in Dodge County and Beaver Dam Fire Department to get divers there right away, so with all their good equipment. So that's a unique thing that we have to always try to, cover as well. And that's the thing that I was drawn to at the fire department, is trying to be a problem solver, right? Where you're the one being called to fix the situation, to make it better, and you have to use your critical thinking and your training to fall back on to make any of those situations better for our community. We also have a lot of people that travel through Fox Lake, just with 33 going to the Dells or wherever it may be, and so we get our bunch of car accidents and stuff that we got to be ready for. And we have a good group of men and women on our department that are trained and ready to put their tools to work and try to help out our community and the visitors that we have on a daily basis.
Sounds like your department is pretty well equipped and staffed, but I imagine like a lot of other volunteer departments of your size, finding and recruiting volunteers is always an ongoing challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember when I first got on the department, it was back in 2008, when I got on the department, and there was a waiting list. You had people 10, 12 to a waiting list, and you're kind of waiting for a position to open up to where they can take somebody from that waiting list, and get leveled up to be a firefighter. And I had to wait, I don't know, a good handful of months before I could even get put on. That dwindled and continued to dwindle throughout the years, of where you don't have that waiting list and you have open positions that you can fill and get them gear and everything. So it's been really tough to find enough people in the community that have the time to do that. Most households, you got both parents working jobs and everything, and they don't have that extra time. They get home with the kids, they're going to spend time with family and everything, and they just have not enough time in a day to devote, because there's a lot of time needed for the monthly trainings that we put on, the monthly meetings we have to run the department, plus just to get educated, just to the base level. We have all our firefighters go through Firefighter 1, and we, of course, want them to certify and everything. That way we can go on mutual aid calls to the area communities that need our help when they call for us. And you're asking for hundreds of hours. When you start throwing in Fire 1, the hazmat operations, go into Fire 2, if they want to become an EMT basic, like our crew is, you're going to devote almost 200 hours of just training to get that certificate, to get that license to run and provide care.
And then being on call once you're, credentialed.
Yeah, and then of course, once you're credentialed, and especially like our EMS, you're signing up for call time. You have to remain available, ready to respond within minutes of the dispatch. So it's a lot of time devoted to it, and you have to have that focus and that drive and that passion, of course, to serve the community and meet people in their worst hour, to try to help make things better. It's very rewarding though too, when you do have the people that you meet and you help out, and how grateful they are. Of course, it's part of the little things like that keep you going with it and drive that passion, is when you get to help somebody and save the day, so to speak. So it's something that we try to find that in people in the community that have that passion, and then they can put the work and the effort in, of course, to go through the classes, to be educated. And then it's continuing that training, right? You can't just say, hey, I got it, sit back, let it, figure things out. Society's changing, equipment's changing, the vehicles are changing. There's always something to train on and be better on. So we're active with training. If we get a donated house or something that's going to be getting tore down, we'll be putting all sorts of scenarios through that house, pulling hose lines, doing ventilation work, whatever we need to do to get hands-on and try to make it as real as possible.
Very good. Yeah, a lot of sacrifice and a lot of reward. We're going to take a break right here for the news, then come right back on Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
saws, knives, scissors, chipper blades, ag blades, and almost anything else with an edge, they'll sharpen it at Pro Edge Sharpening. Give them a call, 920-887-8341. 19 minutes away from 11 o'clock. Back to community comment and Terry Bell.
Thank you, Jeff. If you'd like to join the program, if you're out there listening, you can call us or text us at 920-887-9595 or call us here at the studio at 885-4446. Our guest, of course, is Steve Hopp. He's the fire chief in Fox Lake, and he's here to talk about a lot of things. Perhaps most importantly is tomorrow's big car show fundraiser at Fireman's Park starting at 11 with announcements of the judging coming up at 4 o'clock. But, of course, there's food, there's live music, and it's going to be just a great way for you and your staff to mingle with the community.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be running around and trying to put on hopefully a seamless, good show as possible. One other thing I forgot to mention is the city pool in Fox Lake has been sponsored for all the open pool days. So there's free swimming right next to it. So bring the kids, they can go to the pool and swim. You can look at cars. You can kind of make a whole day of it for pretty cheap, in grand scheme of things,
Yeah, that's terrific that Fox Lake makes that free swimming available thanks to the businesses and groups that sponsor that.
Absolutely. It's amazing the community support you have with the different area businesses and even some just outside of the city of Fox Lake as well that has sponsored so many of these days for free. I think all of 2025 was free for patrons, for people to enjoy our swimming pool. So, and it's been getting used pretty heavily this year with the warm weather. So.
I'll bet it has. Absolutely. And this car show is just not a fun thing to do. It raises money for your department, $10,000 in a typical event. And that helps go pay for equipment, which helps you take care of a lot of important matters that you have to do. Not only putting out fires, but rescuing folks in car crashes or out on the lake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, certainly. We have a lot of training that we do all the time. It takes equipment, some equipment that's just meant for training, and mannequins and the different things that we have to try to replicate real life scenarios. But then, one of the coolest things that I thought we were able to help purchase and get was when we changed over to battery powered JAWS equipment. And that has been a game changer. The amount of time we saved from hooking up hydraulic hoses, starting a small gas motor and a hydraulic pump, and getting our equipment out to just grabbing, pushing a button and go with these great equipment. So that is one thing that really stood out to me as something that could really impact somebody's life in a hurry. So that's really cool to be able to do that with the money and to help give it back to the community in some way through quality trained people. And so it's always good. There's always something else out there that we need, or that as technology gets better, we're going to be looking to purchase with these funds. So and of course our call volumes and some of the especially for EMS have been going up over the years with the aging population and growth in our city, certainly. So for example, like I said before, we're a city of 1,600 people plus the surrounding townships and everything, but we'll get about 310 to 320 calls for service for our EMS per year. So that's pretty busy for the size of community we have. And of course, it's helping neighboring communities as well when we're called upon. We work really closely with Randolph and the fire department EMS over there. And in fact, with a lot of our fire calls, we are auto-aided with Randolph Fire Department as well. That helps you get equipment coming there, making sure you have people to respond, and they're close by. So it's really cool to have communities around you that are willing to help and get these calls. So we'll go to them, they'll come to us, and so that has increased our fire department rescue volume a little bit too, where we're around that 75 calls for the fire department. Yes, a lot of them are smoke detectors, CO alarms going off, and some of the routine stuff. But certainly, we've seen more structure fires, and especially with automatic aid and mutual aid agreements with surrounding communities, we're getting pulled in to help our neighboring communities put out these structure fires and fix these incidences, and especially City of Beaver Dam being right on our south side. Anything in the City of Beaver Dam, we're sending an engine to typically to help them put out when we get something big. So we get called quite a bit for the size of community we are.
Certainly. I think you brought some more information with you to drive that point home.
Yeah, so when you kind of look at the breakdown of kind of where we get called and what we're getting called for, we actually in 2024, I have numbers here that we've actually been called to 13 different structure fires. So some of your most intense, labor intensive, most at risk type of rescue calls to go to. Car accidents were right there at 14 different car accidents that we were called to. And what was unique about 2024 is we actually were pretty busy out on the water and the ice, where we had 10 different calls on the water rescue, ice rescue related in 2024. So it's certainly something where you always got to be on your toes. You never know when that pager goes off what the incident is going to be, but you got to be ready, and get moving with that. Looking back, we have kind of grown since 2017. I have 70 calls for service back then, and like I said, in 2024 and actually 2023, we were at 74 calls for service. And the way we started out 2025, I think we're going to beat that number. So there's definitely more incidences happening year to year, and that just kind of makes you focus on being ready, having people available, and that's kind of what my job is too, to make sure I have quality people, men and women, and that are trained and ready to go and respond for these calls. So,
as an observer, as a layperson, I would have assumed that all the rain we've been getting this summer would cut down on things like grass fires, wildfires, but those sorts of incidents have been keeping you plenty busy this year.
Yeah, there's still time. There's still dead grass that may be buried in amongst the green growing grass. And actually, just like a few weeks ago, we had a ditch fire that was started. So there's always something going on. We had it a couple years ago. We have a big marsh that lines the east side of our. It's basically floating marsh, floating bog that lines the east end of our lake on Fox Lake, and I forget how many hundreds of acres of marsh and cattails and everything, and a firework being lit off in the middle of the humid summer still set that fire off, and we had to have people on fire watch. We had to make sure it wasn't going to encroach on any of the neighboring structures, some of the hunting shacks or something that may be out on the edges of the marsh. But luckily, it kind of burned and smoldered through the night, but didn't grow any bigger than that. The DNR put up a drone or something, kind of looked at how big it was, and it was one of the larger acres burned in the state of Wisconsin that year. So it was kind of unique, but again, it was just grass, so we kind of just were ready. We knew where all the close structures were, so we were ready to put out if it got close, but luckily it just burned down some of the grass floating out on the lake. So, but yeah, there's always something. That's just something's going to happen. You don't know when, but you're going to be ready for it.
That is the life of a firefighter, for sure. We're going to take another quick break here, then be right back. You're listening to Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
If you love brats and have
11 o'clock at your hometown station, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. Back to the Daily Dodge TV studio and Terry Bell.
Thank you so much, Jeff Hall. We are talking about a lot of things relating to the Fox Lake Fire Department with Fire Chief Steve Hopp. First and foremost, we definitely want to get in one more reminder about the big car show fundraiser coming up at Fireman's Park in Fox Lake. That's tomorrow starting at 11. You can take a look at, if you're a car person, this is the place to be tomorrow. Even if you're not, even if you just like to be out and about on a beautiful day and get together with people, Fireman's Park in Fox Lake is the place to be, starting at 11. And then there'll be the judging announcements at 4 o'clock, but live music throughout and well after. And it's a very important way that you can help out the Fox Lake Fire Department, all the volunteers who help keep us safe and get us out of jams when bad things happen. Some other events are coming up too, Steve, and the big one is the National Night Out.
Yeah, our city, Fox Lake, and the police department and the community here with us, with the fire and EMS, they started this last year, and it had a tremendous had a tremendous event with just a ton of people showed up for it. It was a beautiful day. That always helps, of course, but I couldn't believe the amount of people that showed up from the community and area communities as well to, we get our engine out, some of our equipment, open up the doors and let them kind of look around and ask questions about it. It is a pretty important recruiting event too. We have some flyers, of course, for how you want to become a firefighter, EMT in Dodge County. Dodge County actually puts out a flyer for all of us to have to recruit, because we're not only recruiting for ourselves, we are recruiting for other area departments that are in the same situation typically as us as well. So when you get the people that come from all over for this event, you can hand them something and have them take a look like, hey, this may be something I can do with the free time that I have and help support your community. So with National Night Out, we get the police departments there, the fire department's there, EMS. I believe the city also is going to have some, like a bounce house and some other things. There's going to be food available that is put on by the city as well. The other draw that we have lined up right now, but it's of course dependent on calls, is we have a medical helicopter coming in to land and be on display as well. So it's a really great event to reach out to the community, show some equipment, everything that we do. You can also educate a little bit there. I know there's our EMTs last year, taking blood pressures and everything and just kind of interacting with people. And it's amazing to see the number of kids when their eyes light up with a fire truck, of course, and, they kind of root around all over, climb in, and, you hope, a handful of them consider it when they get older too. So it's laying the seeds early with a lot of that and trying to get the public interested in serving your community for sure. So
yeah, it's July, but school will be in session again before we know it, and that's a big part of your outreach too, is making appearances at the local schools.
Yeah, absolutely. October we have Fire Prevention Week that goes on then, and usually we get everything set up with the local schools. So we'll go to Sages, and we put on a fire prevention type education event. Bring some turnout gear, bring the engine. So we'll make our rounds to Sages. We go to St. John's in Fox Lake as well, and then we've been working with Leap Ahead as well to go to the little kids there just outside of town and bring the fire truck and have all the kids that are enrolled in Leap Ahead come out and take a look at the equipment and do a little bit of a fire prevention, how to work a fire extinguisher, work with depending on what age group we're dealing with, you can work with the school and the people and kind of design something that they want to have as well. But we're at your disposal to reach out to and schedule something where you want to have the fire department come in. Could have some EMTs come in and do something. So we're certainly at the disposal of our area community schools. So that's something also that we're looking at in the future, and I just talked with the mayor of Fox Lake, and they've been also cognizant and helping us try to recruit and, make our departments even stronger. We're looking at setting up something more specific to kind of that older age group in our Sages school, 5th or 6th grade, somewhere in there, where we can talk to the kids and say, hey, this is a viable option as a young adult, somebody that's growing, like, hey, take a look at this. You could be a volunteer and be able to support your community. Also to look at the police department as a profession, law enforcement as a profession. So I know Chief Dwayne and myself are kind of looking at, and the mayor of Fox Lake, Tom, certainly looking at ability to get into these and try to recruit more, try to have something where you're getting a hold of these people's attention early in life before they run out everywhere and, forget about even, trying it.
For sure. Very important. It's been an hour well spent. I want to thank Fox Lake Fire Chief Steve Hopp for being with us. And one more plug for the Fireman's Car Show fundraiser. That's at Fireman's Park tomorrow in Fox Lake, starting at 11 and going into the evening. You've been listening to Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
From the